Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We begin in the middle.
There are all sorts of people who are going to throw a bunch of things out that will include mis and disinformation with the intention to dissuade certain people from voting.
That's Kamala Harris. This is in the middle. Israel is threatening more strikes on Hezbollah after overnight attacks that it says targeted branches of the group's financial operations in Lebanon. Secretary of State Antony Blinken beginning a week-long trip to Israel.
Blinken's 11th trip to the region since the Gaza war began last year. The State Department says he'll push for a ceasefire and discuss post-war plans, underscoring that more humanitarian aid needs to be delivered to civilians. He'll also talk about the need to reach a diplomatic solution between Israel and Hezbollah. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
Secretary of State Lloyd Austin in Kyiv, where he's announced $400 million in new funding for Ukraine in its battle with Russia. Putin critic Alexei Navalny's widow, Yulia, tells 60 Minutes, her late husband's fight will not end.
It's not finished. We continue the fight. He still has millions of supporters.
About 2 weeks until the presidential election, and Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are zeroing in on battleground states again. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe from Philly.
Today, Harris starts her day here in the Philadelphia suburbs at an event with former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney in a bid to woo GOP voters and independents. Trump is headed to North Carolina to pour storm damage.
A Texas death row inmate is scheduled to testify virtually before state lawmakers days after he was scheduled to be executed in the death of his 2-year-old daughter. Democrat Joe Moody has been championing Robert Roberson's cause.
The way shaken baby syndrome was understood 20 years ago isn't good science anymore, and yet the Court of Criminal Appeals hasn't weighed any of that evidence.
His attorney says that once Roberson testifies, prosecutors could seek a new execution date at any time. Daniel Penny's trial gets underway in New York. The Marine veteran is charged with manslaughter in a chokehold death on a city subway. Some riders say George Neely had been shouting and begging for money. Legal contributor Caroline Felice.
The defense is going to argue great self-defense, that Penny was fearful not only potentially for his own safety, but for the safety of others on the train. Police interviewed many witnesses, and they all have sort of varying stories.
S&P futures down 14. Dow futures off 47. This is CBS News.
Well, that's today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. It's 54 degrees in Richmond, California.